Many of you think CNN shouldn't have given him any platform to speak, and I understand the anger about that, giving him the audience, the time, I get that. But this is what I also get. The man you were so disturbed to see and hear from last night, that man is the front runner for the Republican nomination for president. And according to polling, no other Republican is even close.
This is Plausibly Live.
At 5:30 this morning, I was awakened when my son Benjamin came into the room. Now, in fairness, the cat woke me up at 5 a.m. So I took the cat downstairs and threw him outside, went back to bed, and I was just in that drift off mode, back to sleep. You know what I'm talking about. 5:30, Ben comes into the room, and Ben does nothing quietly. You need to understand that. Ben comes into the room and wakes me up. Dad, what time can we go to GameStop? Keep in mind that it's 5:30 a.m. I don't know about where you live, but there are no 24-hour GameStops. I'm pretty sure we're not going at 5:30 in the morning. Why is he waking me up at 5:30 in the morning to go to GameStop? Because today is the release day for the latest Legend of Zelda game, which Ben loves the Legend of Zelda. I am not quite as enamored with it. I played the very original Legend of Zelda. Do you remember that? Back on the... I don't even know what game system that was. It was the 1980s. It was 1989-ish, 90-ish. I played the original, and I played the Game Boy version, Ocarina of Time. But those were the only two I played for Legend of Zelda, and that was, 30 years ago, closer to 40 years ago now. But my son loves the new ones. He loves the Legend of Zelda. In fact, I almost let him be on the show today to tell you about the Legend of Zelda, but then I realized you would be here for an hour and you still wouldn't know what he was talking about. It's important to him. You need to understand that the Legend of Zelda is important to him, even if it's not to me, and it's not. It's important to my son, and I assume to other people, the clerk. We didn't go to GameStop. I guess I should tell you the rest of the story. We did not go to GameStop. However, at 6 o'clock, we went to Walmart, which is 24 hours, and did have the game in stock, although it was quite an adventure chasing down a clerk who had the keys that then didn't have the right tools, so we had to go up front to pay for. Anyway, the clerk was telling us that she had already sold 3 and she'd only been on for an hour, so he did get it. He got it at Walmart. He was pretty excited. It's important to him. It's important to other people, even if it's not to me. And I think in many ways, that's the lesson that I took. This has been a week of lessons for me. I don't have time to talk about it, but I was at synagogue on Wednesday night, and we had a long discussion about some things that maybe I'll get into at some point in the future. But the lesson that I took from that, this is what I said to the rabbi, what's the lesson you take from this? The lesson I took from this was, don't jump on the first thing in a debate, particularly in the Talmud. You got to listen to the whole thing before you decide, oh, that's what it is. It was pretty interesting. It was interesting to me. Maybe not to anybody else, but it was to me. And, well, there you go. Which got me thinking on the way home from Walmart about the CNN fiasco. What? The CNN fiasco. To hear the news yesterday and today, you would think that this week CNN took an hour out of its schedule to broadcast Leni Riefenstahl's The Triumph of the Will. You know what that is, right? The Triumph of the Will. That is the ultimate Third Reich propaganda film. If I'm not mistaken, it won awards. I don't remember because I've never paid that much attention to it. Leni Riefenstahl, the famous German filmmaker back in the 30s, made this film. All the films, all the clips you see of the Nazi Nuremberg rally with the lights and the marching, it all comes from this film, The Triumph of the Will, which was about how Hitler and Nazi Germany had forced, through sheer willpower, Germany to rise up from the tragedy of World War I and the Depression and become the modern Third Reich. It's the ultimate propaganda film. It really is. You should Google it and you'll see what I'm talking about. You would have thought from the reaction in the news and in the talking head world that CNN, like I said, had taken an hour and a half out of their schedule and just rebroadcast this film, Triumph of the Will. The meltdowns have been amazing. Whether you're talking about the Lincoln Project and their meltdown, or not CNN, Twitter, but Anderson Cooper went on his show on CNN and basically had a meltdown about the Trump town hall, which is what this was. It was a town hall meeting. And boy, the incredible reaction to this, particularly on the left, is remarkable to me, but not all that surprising. The reaction on the right has been one of gloating and one of laughter. I'll admit it, the first time I listened to Anderson Cooper's little bit there, and I just played you 20 seconds of it at the beginning, the whole 2.5 minutes of it it's insulting, it's outrageous. But first time I heard it, I laughed because I thought there's no way that this guy is really that stupid. He can't be. You can't get where he is in life by being that stupid. Look, I've been in radio. I know that there are things that have to be done. There are actions that you have to take that maybe you don't necessarily agree with and maybe you don't like. But in order to move things forward, you have to do them. You have to be a team player. You have to the manifest phrase in radio is protect the license. It doesn't matter what your personal opinion is, protect the license. You have to protect the bottom line of the station. Because if you're going to, put your own will ahead of everything else, you're not going to be successful, and more importantly, you're going to destroy what you have. When I watched Anderson Cooper do this, I thought to myself, he's trying to Don Lemon. He's trying to get fired. Because CNN, or maybe he's not. Maybe he cleared it with the people that, because he probably doesn't write his own scripts anyway, so maybe he didn't. I don't know. But it started me thinking about some considerations about this entire situation, this Trump town hall, the left's reaction to it, the right's reaction to it, and what I'm not hearing in any of those discussions. Number one, ratings is king. Okay, I get that. And this was the highest rated CNN show in, a billion years. I'm not wrong. Ratings matter. I don't care how much protest there is about things. I don't care how much somebody says, oh, we shouldn't have done that, and it's not keeping with our values and blah. It's all BS when people say that, folks. It's all about ratings. No matter how much they protest to the contrary, no matter how much they say no, it's all about ratings. Why? Because ratings are what drive revenue. It's a stupid system. The rating system, particularly in radio, because I'm more familiar with that, the Nielsen rating system is outrageously inept. I'm not in radio anymore, so I can say this. It's almost fraudulent. And it really is. It's like, here's a book. You write down what you listen to, and we'll believe you. Okay. Now, granted, they've been slowly changing for years to what they call the PPM, the people meters and stuff like that, but there's no way to know for sure that they're telling you the truth. But if you don't have those ratings, or if your ratings are bad or they go down, revenue follows that because advertisers look at that and go, well, what's your demo? Who you're trying to reach? Who's the group that you're most connecting with? And how many of them are there? Because that's how we're going to decide to advertise. Now, in the world of talk radio, conservative talk radio, I will tell you that's a little bit different because conservative audiences, talk radio audiences, tend to be a little more loyal, a little more driven by what they perceive as the actions of. So you can get away with a little bit less of that in the conservative talk radio world. But in general, and especially in TV news, that's not the case. Ratings matter. The Bud Light lesson should have taught people this stuff. The lesson of Bud Light isn't go woke, go broke. The bottom line is the lesson of Bud Light is the bottom line is what matters, which I guess you could translate as go woke, go broke. But, there are other mistakes you could make too along the way. You could, change your formula, new Coke. You can do stupid things and cost yourself the bottom line. If you're losing money and hemorrhaging ratings, your bottom line goes down. And if your bottom line goes down, it doesn't matter how good your talent is, that your on-air talent is. If you can't afford to pay them, then they're not going to be on the air. Now, let's consider a few things here. What if CNN knows that? It's a stupid assumption, I know, because of course they know this. People who run CNN are not imbeciles. They understand that ratings equal revenue. Now, maybe they're used to saying, well, like conservative audiences, we can kind of lean on liberal advertisers and maybe push them because where else are they going to go? I remember the day we had a salesperson come into the studio where I was working and said, hey, I got a potential sponsor for you, and they want you to MC an event. And it was an event that was all about liberal values and liberal things. And I said, do you even listen to this show? Do you even listen to this station? Number one, I'm not going to do that. You're going to hurt my persona. You're going to hurt my reputation. But number two, why do they want to advertise on our station? Well, because we had better ratings than the liberal station did. Great, I get it, but there's got to be a better way to do that. CNN knows this, and maybe they lean on liberal advertisers to stay with them, even though their ratings aren't that great, but eventually that dries up because if your advertising doesn't work, your business goes down, you go out of business. And the first thing people cut when you're in business, and it's a mistake, but the first thing they cut is advertising budgets. It's what happened in 2008. But CNN knows that. So maybe the negative reactions that we're seeing, particularly from like Anderson Cooper, are designed for the same purpose. They're designed for the same reason that they put Trump on in the first place. They knew Trump was going to bring ratings, and maybe they understand that these reactions, these outbursts, these, rants, are going to do the same thing. Maybe Anderson Cooper gets, a billion hits because of his principled stand on the Trump thing. Maybe CNN knows that, and maybe they're contriving a lot of this reaction and welcoming a lot of this reaction because, again, I've said it before, there's no such thing as bad attention. No such thing as bad publicity, sorry. And if you watch Anderson Cooper tell you that everything that Trump said was a lie and that everything that Trump said was to these people who go to church and who vote for Trump and are going to vote for Trump again, maybe you'll go watch the original and go, well, maybe I should see what they're reacting to. Maybe. And so it's driving that in. CNN's got to know that. But here's a second consideration that I want us to seriously take into account. I can't make you do anything. I don't want to make you do anything. Why I don't shill for products anymore. You do what you want to do. But this morning I was reminded that some things are important to other people, even if they're not to me. What if we as conservatives, what if Trump voters across the board who are absolutely enjoying this? If you listen to talking heads across this country, you'll hear what I'm talking about. They are laughing their butts off at CNN for being somewhere between stupid or outrageously ignorant. The reactions. Conservatives, Trump voters are just laughing at them for this, which is just infuriating them more. What if we stopped doing that? What if conservatives, Trump voters stopped laughing at CNN? Called them up, tweeted at them, sent them emails that said, hey, I'd like to advertise on your next Trump town hall. Look at your ratings. This is what people actually want to see. They don't want to see Anderson Cooper. They don't want to see, I don't even know what the hell else. What else is on CNN? I don't know. I know Don Lemon's not anymore. They don't want to see that. They want to see this. And if you'll put more of that on, I'll advertise on your station, on your channel. What if conservatives and Trump voters took that approach to it? It's almost like out of the Proverbs, you know. How do you really, really hurt your enemy? You dump kindness on them. It's like coals on their heads. What if they took that approach? What if these businesses that support Trump, that support conservatives, were calling up CNN and say, you know, if you're going to do that again, let me know because I want to advertise on it. And I'll pay extra. Knowing full well that conservative audiences are very, very loyal. What effect might that have on CNN? What effect might that have on other businesses? We've watched Bud Light not learn the lesson that some things are important to other people, even if they're not important to you. We've watched Bud Light just absolutely fumble their way through this controversy and refuse to acknowledge that, hey, what's important to other people might not be important to us, but it is important to our bottom line. And if pressure began to be brought on CNN saying, hey, you need to do more of this, what if the people who run CNN go, it may not be what I believe, but hey, it makes money. We've seen this in the past. We've seen talk radio show hosts, conservative talk radio show hosts, who are neither conservative nor believe anything that they spouted, but they knew it made money and they knew it got ratings, and they were willing to compromise themselves to do that. Now, you might say to yourself, well, David, that's just wrong. You're compromising your principles you're lying, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. But I also know that radio, television, broadcasting is a business. Like the NFL, just like baseball, just like printing, just like Amazon. It's a business. And some things are more important to other people, even if they're not to you. And at the end of the day, I don't care what CNN says. I don't care what anybody says. Making money, getting good ratings is what counts. Maybe if we stopped mocking them for it and praised them for it, maybe we'd see the change that we want, kind of like the proverb says. Or we could just continue laughing at them because it makes us feel better, right? And not learn the lesson that I learned this morning about Zelda at 5:30 in the morning.